This is the voice of Restful Sleep MD, Dr. Funke Afolabi Brown. I'm excited to be here with a friend of mine, Dr. Babalola, who is a phenomenal physician and is doing such amazing work. If you do not, hi, medical billing, hi. If you do not know her, I don't know where you are, but just go give her a follow real quick, Living at Your Finest. But I'm not going to do it justice. Hi, Sleep Dr. Chris. I'm not going to do it justice if I try to introduce her. Like, it will just not, it'll be subpar, and I'm not about that life. So, Dr. Babs, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell our friends who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff.
Yes. Well, first and foremost, thank you. It's an honor for me to be in your presence, in your midst. So thank you again. And hello, everyone. I am Dr. Dolapo Babalola, but I do go by Dr. Babs. I am a triple board certified family, lifestyle, and obesity medicine physician. I'm the founder of Living at Your Finest Wellness, which is a holistic direct primary care practice in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also an adjunct professor at Morehouse School of Medicine. So that's who I am in a nutshell, and I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Okay, that is incredible. I'm going to plug in. She is a busy mom of 3 with a phenomenal husband. So she gets it. She's walked the walk. You know that I don't just play when I bring guests on this platform. Listen, between the two of us, there's 6 specialties. I just want to point that.
That's right.
We have lifestyle medicine, we have family medicine, we have obesity medicine, we have pediatrics, we have pediatric pulmonology, and we have sleep medicine. So what I know, us. What I just want to highlight again is around what we're going to talk to you today about. So we're not just here to talk fluff.
Yeah.
We're not just here to just, ramble. We're talking about information overload because trust me, 6 specializations between the two of us. So if it comes to information, we have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get so much out there, right? And that's why I wanted us to really talk about this. And the field of work you're doing, Dr. Bass, right? Lifestyle medicine, it is such a huge deal right now. Obesity pandemic, family medicine, where you see the depth and the breadth of pathology, right? And now we're at an age where with AI, with Dr. Google, with TikTok,
I know, with all the things,
influencers, for that busy mom out there, I don't even know where to start. I want to start to adopt a healthy lifestyle, but I am like, I don't even know where to start. So maybe we could even start with, how did you get into this field where you now have this accolades and certifications and you're doing this incredible work? And then we could start to talk about some of the challenges we're faced with out here now with everything going on. The information is exploding, literally.
It certainly is, yes. And it really started with me wanting to understand what's going on in my body. I've always wanted to be a doctor, and I just was so baffled with the fact that the human body can naturally heal itself. But then in medical school, got lost in diagnosing, treatment, and that was it. And I was like, okay, so what happened to the fact that our body can naturally heal itself? So I went for additional training because I was burnt out. I love caring for my patients, but then I lost my way, wasn't sleeping adequately, all the things, and, got married, had kids, gaining weight and not sleeping adequately. I was like, okay, what is going on? And so it was really started with me, physician, heal thyself. My patients could read true. They was like, are you okay, Dr. Babalola? What's going on with you? You're not looking too good today. So how can I tell my patients to do things when I'm not doing it? And that's when I went for a deeper understanding. And that's when I pursued lifestyle medicine and learned the root cause of problems. So it's blood pressure being so high on 3 blood pressure medicines, not getting better, getting to the root cause was really what healed me from the hypertension. I was able to get off those blood pressure meds. And then the same thing with weight loss, so, and then sleep improving. And those are the pillars. And that was why I went in that track. And then, of course, obesity medicine, understanding the complexity of obesity. We used to say to our patients, just go exercise, eat less. But we've since known that it is more than just that, right? And there was also another phase where we were taught, genetics, that's just it. It's your gene, blame your gene. But then we've learned with studies, we're both, faculty in the past, our journey in the past, and we learned the research, evidence-based medicine that tells you genetics could just be 20% of it. The remaining 80% is lifestyle and environment. So that was where the passion began. And then it blossomed into me experiencing it and sharing it with my patients. But unfortunately, with the traditional practice, 15, 20 minutes doesn't cut it. You have to deep dive into the sleep patterns, into the nutrition, how much exercise. Definitely, that was where I decided I needed to do a more of a holistic view, a whole person approach. And that's when I dived into direct primary care. So that kind of did a shift for me in terms of how do I get started? Where do I continue? And how do I get those health outcomes that I'm looking for?
Good. So, that you bring up a point, right? Like in our traditional model now. And I think that's really, again, why people are out there really looking for ways to save them, right? Because you have an issue. First of all, it takes 6 months to get to see your doctor. And you have a whole of 15 minutes to talk about all
the things. Right? Yes. That's overwhelming, not just for the patient, but for the doctor, because they're pressed to, see all the other patients waiting. But the doctor knows that they haven't done justice to what is really going on with the patient. So everybody's frustrated both ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So can we even maybe shed some light on why this obsession with information is maybe really doing more harm than good? And I'm talking about that woman who is juggling all the things, blood pressure and obesity, and has kids, and she's not sleeping well, and she's just like, she's trying to hold on for a lifeline, right? And she's on social media, she's seeing all these influencers, everybody has alphabet and name, and she doesn't know who to follow or who to do and who has the right. So maybe we could shed some light on why that potentially may not be the right thing to do, what the challenges are, and then we could talk about strategy forward.
Yeah, definitely. And then you already said it, that maybe that's the reason, because maybe they're not getting that time that they really need with their physician, their provider. And so they're going out to look for it. But here's the thing. You can look for information, but you have to be very mindful that the information out there, you have to put it in context. How does that apply to you? Their scenario is totally different from your scenario, right? Their family genes, all of that is different. I already said it by saying just how uniquely we're designed. And so when you want to go out for this information, you want to be very clear about what you're searching and which source matters. The other day my mom was telling me that, they said we should not eat tomatoes anymore, that it has something that would damage my arthritis. And I'm like, Mom, who said it? She said, somebody on YouTube. I'm like, okay, yes, we have to be very mindful that even in your search of information, be very clear that unless there's an evidence-based article that they're attaching it to, you want to inquire from your physician. How true is this? I've had patients bring articles to me and tell me, is this true? Or they bring me a medication. I didn't take it. I wanted to check in with you. So again, people, you have all these resources, all the people on the internet, all the people on social media, but be mindful of what you're absorbing. Know that your own case is unique. It's not you, because if somebody had arthritis doesn't mean your arthritis is the same, because there are different types of arthritis. So you really want to always verify with your physician. The question then will be, well, but what if my physician doesn't have the time? Well, I guess we'll talk more about that and how to address that if your physician doesn't have the time, because really you're looking for somebody that will listen to you. Because if you want to, in the midst of all the chaos, you don't want to get overwhelmed, because I've been overwhelmed in the past when I had blood pressure issues. It was because I was overwhelmed. I didn't know which way to go. I had to really sit down and retract and get to the root cause of the problem. And if I didn't do that, I would still be where I was then. So you definitely want to start somewhere. Figure out who is a trusted individual. When you gather that information, you have to test it, make sure that it's evidence-based. It's not everything out there that applies to you. And because it worked for one person does not mean it's going to work for you.
Thank you so much. Yes. And I think there are a few things I wanted to just highlight. There's a question of denials from insurances. So we'll see, maybe we'll be able to talk a little bit about insurances, but our real focus here is going to be on helping individuals get the right information. And some of the issues here is, in summary, what you're talking about is when you get data, when you see a post or a reel or a YouTube video, or now even some published articles, they're all kind of journals, right? Many of them are not what we call peer reviewed. So reviewed means that you did a research or you did a study and you wanted to put it out there. And so a peer reviewed journal is a journal where you submit that article with appropriate data, right? These are the subjects. This was how we did the study. This was how we either randomized them. This was what we did to get to these results, right? And so your colleagues, experts in the field, look critically at that work to say, this is not merit being published. So many times some of the journals, articles are not necessarily from the right sources. So one is look at the source where you're looking at this. And then something else you said is, how does it apply to you? Just general information. Yeah, nobody should eat tomatoes again. Okay, how does that apply to me? What's the source, right? And then you talked about something. You want to move that up, either take it to your provider, your physician, say, this is what I read. Now, knowing what you know about me.
Right, exactly.
Apply to me. And then I would say one other thing when we're talking about verified sources is the fact that I'm going to put that out there. I'm just going to say the blue sticker or blue tag. What's that blue tag we get on Instagram to say you're verified? That does not make you, that does not put that person in a place of authority to demand medical information. We're talking lives here, right? We're talking health. And so I do want us to be very reverent about what we are listening to, what we are applying, and making sure that that information is right. So the reason why that is important is that if you take this piece of information and you apply it to yourself, and then it doesn't work on your journey towards wellness, then you say, maybe I'm the one that failed. Maybe this doesn't work for me, but maybe that was not really necessarily care that was tailored for you. And so important that we check out the sources, that we filter it with a very clear lens, that we sort of trust but verify, bring it up with our physicians. And a lot of people put that information out there too, where they say, listen, I'm not your physician, I don't provide direct medical advice, please check in with your physician. I know it's just a disclaimer so that nobody gets sued or whatever, but it's really the truth, right? Like some information may not be something that's applicable to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think maybe what I want us to now shift towards then is, okay, so what do we do, right? So again, I want to bring that scenario of a woman who is motivated. She is done. She's tired of being tired. She is, like you were, on 3 medications. Her weight is just fluctuating all over. She's busy with the kids, and she's like, listen, I need like bite-sized information that I can start on so that to get better. How does she navigate that? What are some practical ways by which she can start to improve her health and live at her finest?
Oh yeah, live at her finest, wellness. Yeah, so that's a fantastic question, and this is something that we all have to be very mindful of, that overwhelm does not help us. It just makes it worse, unfortunately. If there's so much information, left, right, center, it becomes overwhelming. Your body can't take it. We're not designed for stress. So it just, you might knuckle through the first 2 times, and then afterwards you give up and then you go to your default business as usual. But that's not what we want. I want if I'm speaking to you and that is how you started, because I was there,
Mm.
you have to first of all pause, give yourself grace, right? Understand that yes, there's a lot that you're dealing with, there's a lot that you have to handle, but do not expect changes overnight. We're in this world where we want fast foods, everything fast, fast, fast. So it's going to take time. When I was able to get off my blood pressure, it took me 3 months, but it was a process. So understanding where you're at and not being overwhelmed with the things that you need to change, and then start with the lowest hanging fruit, right? And so I would say, in the midst of all the information that you have about nutrition, about physical activity and sleep, and it could become very overwhelming, I would say start with the basics, right? So nutrition is definitely our foundation. The question is, what is your diet like? What are you eating? We know, and regardless of whatever nutrition pattern you have, we know that plant-based foods, even predominantly, it's in this natural form, it's the best way to start. So limiting processed foods, right? So fast foods, processed foods. So I would say start there. If you can start there, maybe you have fast foods all the time, maybe cut back on it, maybe have one meal at home, figure out how that is going to work. But you have to figure that out in a still mood, because if you can't figure it out as you're moving and hustling, you really have to dedicate a time to figure it out. So nutrition, I would say start there. If you're not drinking water, maybe get your bottle, right? Fill it up. Some people don't like water, and then they come in complaining of headache, migraines, all the things. And then when you ask them, do you drink water? They say no. Start there. Maybe, again, you're dehydrated. So find out what you're not doing and add little by little, right? It's always consistency, right? We're not talking about perfection. We're talking about progress. And then moving your body. I would say that's another good one that will help with mental clarity, will help with, just all the things, not to lose weight, but to actually give you strength. Of course, the weight loss comes as time goes on, but it helps with stress management. It really keeps your muscle toned. So just moving. Even if it's 10 minutes instead of that 30 minutes that the American Heart Association recommends, start somewhere. And then sleep. I love sleep because that is our powerhouse, and I'm sure you're the expert with sleep. A lot of people are not sleeping, and unfortunately, that's where the problem is. So those top three, if you can figure out just one thing that you can improve in it, not all the things you're doing wrong, just one thing out of each of them, and as you perfect those, then you can move the next week to another. But again, you want accountability, because unfortunately we are creatures of habit, and we will always default to what we remember and what we know. So that's how I would advise that person that is doing all the things, that take a step back, acknowledge all the things you're going through, give yourself space and grace, and take it one step at a time. Don't try and compound like 20 things all at the same time, because it's not going to work that way. So that's where I'll say start. Of course, there are other things, but I'll like to hear your thoughts and how you would address for them to take it one step at a time.
No, literally, you hit the nail on the head. Honestly, I think if you really start small, it's
Yeah.
really those small steps. And there's a lot out there. If you think about nutrition, like you said, there are a gazillion people that are following. There are people that would say, oh, yes, it has to be plant-based. It has to be keto. You can eat, it's intermittent fasting. Oh, no, it's small meals all through the day and night. Like, it's crazy.
It's a lot. I know.
It's like, start from the foundation. Okay, think of it this way: 3 pillars. And I'm really, again, looking at that mom who, I want to improve my health. I don't know where to start. Like Dr. Bab said, 3 pillars. Think three, just three. Let's start with three. Okay. Physical fitness, nutrition, and sleep. Let's build. Okay, nutrition. What is one thing, just one thing that you could do? It might be, I've never bought a vegetable. I've never bought a vegetable in my fridge. Guess what? Okay, today I'm going to buy 30 items from the grocery store, and we're going to buy one vegetable, right? Really taking one step, and your taste buds may need some adjustment, right? Again, you think of food as medicine, and then decision from there. And then you start to slowly replace the unhealthy, the saturated foods, the processed foods with more natural But then it's not about like suddenly changing your entire diet overnight, because that's never any crash program, any like, oh yeah, lose, all this excess weight in 30 days. Please don't do that. But you might lose it, but it's going to come.
It sets you up for failure, unfortunately, when they promise all those things, because it's a lifestyle, right? It's lifestyle. It's continuous. It's not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lifestyle. So as long as we're all on this earth, it's going to be a gradual, continuous thing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where you see the little drops of water become a big pile. So that's where I would just say, if anything at all, please stop the overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
Don't. Everything you hear out there, you have to decide, tailor you as an individual. What is your lifestyle? What is your family situation? What is your job?
Mm-hmm.
How can you apply? Maybe you hear this, but what is applicable for you? Which, of course, you'd have to take that deeper dive into it. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things I've seen you do, which also makes it very practical for that mom who's doing everything, especially if they have a very busy week, is meal prep. And I see share a lot of information around meal prep. So maybe on a Sunday or something, just kind of have an idea. Like you said, okay, maybe we won't be able to eat 3 home cooked meals, but I want to make sure that every single day this week there's a home cooked meal. And maybe you could go grocery shopping and just do that. Like that's one big place to start when it comes to nutrition. And of course, levels to this, like Dr. Bab said, honestly, I think following you and just following your journey and all the tips you share, literally you can start to see that transformation. And then what you said about physical activity, I loved it. It's like, the recommendation is 30 minutes of exercise, but honestly 10 is better than 0. It's not up to 10.
That's right.
Don't, because you can't get in 30 minutes in, don't now not do anything. Walk up and down steps. Like I walk a couple of days a week, I work from home, and when I'm not careful, especially when I'm so caught up in the work, I'm like, oh my goodness, I haven't moved. So I'll just go up and down the steps.
That is movement. It all adds up. And that is called the NEAT, which is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It actually burns. And a lot of that, I mean, you're making movements and you're burning calories. You have no idea. So we don't want all or nothing mentality. Do something, no matter how small it is, it all adds up. Definitely.
For sharing that. And, and again, like for me, for instance, again, I'm talking to you, that mom, maybe you work from home, you have you have meetings all day. You could take the meeting on the phone and take it on a walk, right? Like especially a meeting where you don't need to be like, there in person. Like they don't need to see your video. You could really incorporate, if you have little kids, you guys can play tag around the house or outside, right? And I love what you said about accountability, right? You can't do this alone, and it's really important to start to pull in like resources. Who can hold me? Who can I check on? The beautiful thing about a lot of smartwatches, you can actually compete with others, right? Competitive. Say, okay, let's set a goal of closing our ring, right? So it becomes this fun thing where it's no more just like work or something you have to do, but something you get to do.
Yeah, that's right.
On movement. And then one of the things you said, sleep, right? All day, every day, that's all I talk about. So really make space for sleep. Make it like it's a recurring appointment, right? If you're gonna go see your specialist, you won't just be like, oh, sorry, I told you I was gonna get there at 2. Okay, I'm gonna be there at 4. That's what you're gonna show up. You're gonna show up 15.
You're gonna show up for your bed. Your bed is expecting you, So that's a date with your bed. Yes, absolutely. That's the way we should all see it. So you're so right. I mean, if you stand and the goal, you said something, we really need to set goals, because if you do not stand for anything, you will fall for anything. And that's what I realized when those periods before I started my wellness journey, because I wasn't specific about what I needed, what my why. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to, not just live long, but live well. But when you set those goals and your why, then all the things around you, they don't align with your goals. And then you can flush them away. And you know that your bed is your priority. You wake up better. All the good things that happen when you sleep occur. Then you actually see it as important and you get it done. So definitely I agree with the goal setting.
Yeah. So again, I think what I'm just taking away from this, and I hope many of you that are listening to this and will come back to listen and watch this is just take a step back when it feels, where do I start? I want to get better. I want to live longer. I want to be happier. I want to lose weight, whatever that goal is. And then you're now faced with so many so much information, so many worksheets, cheat sheets, and programs and courses
Oh,
and YouTube videos. Like, step back and first build that foundation. You said set the goal. And then when it comes to wholeness, health, then look at those three. Nutrition, what step can I take towards improving my nutritive health?
yeah.
The second is physical activity. How can I move a little bit more today? Make that a lifestyle. And then sleep. Like, if you're someone who's only in 6 hours or 5 hours, the recommendation is 7 to 9 hours. But it's going to be hard for you to jump from 5 hours to 7 hours. That's 2 hours. Where are you going to find those 2 hours, right? So that is where you build on that, right? You could slowly say, okay, I'm going to add 15 minutes extra. I'm going to go to bed 15 minutes earlier today.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to bed another 15 minutes earlier until you reach your goal. And then you listen to your body. You pay attention to your body.
That's
Say,
key.
so, right? And it's almost like a feedback. Oh my goodness, I feel so good. Then you do it. And
And it
that's
must be good for me, right? So
absolutely.
being intentional, I mean, keywords,
Mhm.
being intentional, because all these things we're saying, it takes intentionality. You really do need to be intentional about it. And another thing is make it a family affair. Make it a family affair.
Mhm.
You know, the kids, you know, the hubby, the spouse. Let it. I mean, my kids call me out. Mom, are you living at your finest at the moment? What is all of this? And I call them
Yeah.
out. So let it be a family affair because we want healthy families, healthy home. You know, the father happy, healthy, the children, all of us. So
Mhm.
make it a family affair. There
Mhm.
could be your accountability partners for sure,
Mhm.
and you inspire each other to be healthy. And then of course, you know, your physician and people in the area
Mhm.
that have walked the talk and doing the things and can help you, so that when that overwhelm comes back, they can redirect you. So all the key things you said, very important.
Awesome. Well, this has been incredible. Can you then just tell that overwhelmed woman who's trying to find this, where she can find you, how she can navigate this overwhelm, how she could feel heard, how she could feel seen, and what does she need to do to connect with you or anybody else that's really looking to work with a physician who really has not just all these accolades, but has actually experienced what it was like overwhelmed or their
Yeah.
wellness.
So thanks for that opportunity. I love to connect with people. I love to share my journey. I say I'm an open book because I've lived it. I was so overwhelming for me and I've lived it. And so I would love to connect with you if you are that person that is overwhelmed. All the things, you're like, oh goodness, one day after the other, it just seems like it's getting worse. I want to assure you, just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. It can be better. It is possible. And, you just have to start somewhere. All the information, you just have to start somewhere, and then you build on that. Now, in terms of my practice, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I do have a direct primary care practice. I do have courses and programs. I have YouTubes that I've shared, as Dr. Funke Brown mentioned, that I do meal prep. I have videos where I do it with my kids, a family affair, to be healthier family. I have that on YouTube, and it's all under Living at Your Finest Wellness. So you can find me there if you're interested in any of those. You want to make sure that you're listening to people that know what they're saying and what they're doing. And it's not just everyone that just comes and says, you don't do this, and doesn't give you the information behind it. So you definitely can find all that information about me, Living at Your Finest Wellness, on Instagram, Facebook, and which other one? I think that's it, and YouTube. So yeah, I would love to connect with you. I'm happy to help. Again, it's all about being an additional resource. I do have courses on stress, because stress was the origin of my blood pressure problems, in addition to emotional eating, and I was able to tackle that. And so I do have a course on sleep, on stress, as well as natural eating. So I'd love to hear from you if there's anything I can do to just help you on this journey. But I want you to know that you can do this. It's possible.
Awesome. So when we're talking about people that know what they're doing, people that know what they're talking about, Dr. Babs is one of them. And I'm going to put the links, like you said, in our notes so that you guys can grab it, give her a follow, check channel. It's incredible. It's full of so much information. Now, you know, we talk about the pillars. She actually delves into each of these pillars in a lot of her content, and also has her primary care practice, a direct primary care practice. So if you're someone in the Atlanta area and you're looking for a physician take care of you to help you live at your finest, then that's someone you want to definitely connect with. And if you are in California, if you're in Pennsylvania or New Jersey, and you're looking for that person to help you prioritize and improve you or your child's sleep, then the place is the place for you. It's the restfulsleepplace.com. So schedule an appointment with us, because we do help you sleep better so the entire family can thrive their fullest potential. So this has been so, so good. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you. Wonderful, wonderful time with you as always.
Alrighty. All right, everyone. I hope you all be well, and see you next
All
time.
right. Bye, everyone. Thanks.